Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Am I the Butthole? Mixed with some relationships too. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Really helps out the channel, it truly does. And let's crack on with today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from a throwaway account who says, am I the arsehole for dropping off two drunk, rude girls at the bus stop instead of driving them home? My boyfriend's best friend's girlfriend is always really rude to me. She wanted to hook up my boyfriend with one of her friends, so when I arrived into the picture, she decided she hates my guts for ruining her friend's chance for a great relationship. I was still trying to be nice if we had to hang out because of our boyfriends, but I preferred to avoid her, since she would always make a point to talk shit about my appearance, personality, fashion sense, work, etc. My boyfriend and his friend went to a festival together. I was supposed to pick them up after because they were drinking. I arrived at the parking lot at 3 AM to see my boyfriend, his friend's girlfriend, and her friend. Yes, the one she wanted to hook up with my boyfriend. I was surprised, but before I could ask about it, they get into the car. A few minutes passed until the girlfriend's friend asked if I'm the B word that stole her love, which spiraled into them going into a rant about everything that is wrong with me in their eyes, including how my boyfriend could do better. I told them that they are quite brave considering the state they are in, completely wasted since I'm driving them home and can decide to drop them off if they continue. They dared me to do so, so I did. Pulled up to the nearest bus stop, told them to get out. They thought I was joking until they saw me turning off the engine. In the end, my boyfriend got annoyed since he wasn't feeling well and wanted to go home. So he screamed at them to get out or he will drag them out of my car himself. His best friend tried to protest, but my boyfriend in his drunk state told them that it's my car, so he's not the one to decide, and if he has a problem then he waits for the bus with his girl and her friend or take an Uber. My boyfriend, after waking up sober and remembering what happened, called me an arsehole for kicking out two drunk girls out of my car in the middle of the night. I reminded him that his friend stayed with them, but it only angered him more for some reason. I was told that the girls were drunk, so I shouldn't take it to heart what they were saying, and that by dropping them off at the bus stop, I put them in unnecessary danger. He's going on about it for the past few hours, to the point if I really did the bad thing and should apologize. Now imagine being in their position, you're absolutely wasted. Yes, you do stupid things when you're wasted, but getting into someone else's car and then absolutely giving them grief to their face, the person that's kind enough to drive you home, and then suddenly be all shocked Pikachu when you get your ass kicked out of the car. And you know, to be fair to OP, they kicked them out at a bus stop. It's not like that they was in danger. It was at a bus stop with their boyfriend. And I don't want to be too suspiciously Reddit-y type person, but the fact that he's, you know, with his friend, with two girls, one that you've known has wanted to hook up with you in the past. I mean, come on now. I got to say, red flags are waving to me in this particular one, but Anti-Rooster5880 says, not the arsehole, is your boyfriend insane? You are being verbally abused, and not for the first time, by this girl while he sat and did nothing. You didn't drop them off in the middle of nowhere. They were at a bus stop with your boyfriend's best friend. I'd be more concerned with the fact that he doesn't see an issue with the way you've been treated. You did the right, nice thing. Should have kicked your boyfriend out at the same time. Terry Sauer says, not the arsehole, you picked your boyfriend up from his double date, but never agreed to give those girls a ride, and everyone in the car was an arsehole to you. Dump the guy and let the other girl have him. No Window says, not the arsehole, I would be questioning why your boyfriend isn't standing up to his friend over very obvious bullying. If she's saying it to your face, I can only imagine what she's saying to him behind your back. Oliver Barley says, not the arsehole, obviously, but the bigger issue here is your boyfriend. If someone was treating my wife like that, there is literally zero chance I'd spend any time with them. Absolutely, obviously I wouldn't be angry at her for sticking up for herself. Personally, this would be a deal breaker for a relationship. And one more from Many Hobbies Gal who says, being drunk is not an excuse for their behaviour. You agreed to pick your boyfriend and his friend up. You did not sign up for the abuse dished out by the girlfriend and her friend. Bottom line, you didn't owe them anything. You weren't their guardian, therefore not responsible for their safety or for ensuring they got door-to-door service for. You did not put up with their abuse. I have to wonder about your boyfriend's thought process here. I'd ask why he feels you should have to put up with this. You are not the arsehole, but your boyfriend sure is. So then OP did go on to update the post in their own profile, which said, "Am I the arsehole mods? Don't let me post an update, so I'm just going to write it here. Maybe people who saw my original post will somehow find it." Well, I have an update, but first I want to answer some of the questions that were asked a lot. At first I wanted to respond to each and every comment, but before I realized my original post blew up, so I decided to address everything here. Did you know your boyfriend went on a double date? No. It was supposed to be him and his best friend, which I have my doubts about because the festival was ticketed and the tickets were sold out in a matter of days. I'm sure at least her boyfriend knew she was going. Was the bus stop in the middle of nowhere? No. It was in a city centre near the festival site and there were many other festival goers waiting. Were the buses still running? Yes, our city is hosting this festival for years now and they always taking care of festival goers. There are additional night buses, trams and even train lines. What if someone shot my boyfriend's best friend? I'm really sorry for what's happening in the USA, but we're living in Poland, Europe. Now to the update. I know why my boyfriend was so adamant about me apologizing. Apparently, his best friend's girlfriend and her friend decided that I need to be taught a lesson. I'm not really sure what they were planning to do, but they decided to scare me somehow as a form of revenge. My boyfriend decided it would be a great idea for me to apologize so they would calm down, instead of, telling me. When asked why he would withhold this information from me, he said that he didn't want drama, as if there's not enough drama already with this psycho. He told me all of this because his best friend broke up with her in the end over her craziness. So my boyfriend deemed it appropriate to tell me I no longer have to apologize. Lol. I contacted his best friend asking if he would be willing to tell me what he knows about his ex and her plans to authorities, if she would ever come through with her plan to teach me a lesson, and he agreed. My boyfriend on the other hand was furious I contacted his best friend because he doesn't want drama. I was feeling petty, so I told him that maybe I should just go out with his best friend since he seems more level-headed and caring. That's when I learned that his best friend, ex, thought her boyfriend, my boyfriend's best friend, was attracted to me, so her outbursts of anger were justified by her insecurities. When asked why he's so keen on victimizing her, he wasn't able to answer and shut down completely. Needless to say, we are taking a break. It's hard to break up completely because we are living together and we both are on the lease. I'm pretty sure it's not the kind of update a lot of people commenting under my previous post were hoping for, but I'm not really sure what to do. And the comments pretty much exploded underneath that one saying, that would be the end of the relationship for many people who commented. Many people were saying, that he did go on a double date in the original post. But what do you guys make of this situation? How would you have dealt with it if you was OP? Would you split up over this? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below and let's move on to another story. And our next story is from Fulani Loving Criminal and the title is OP can't find any trace of his ex-girlfriend and thought it never existed. And the title is I had a girlfriend who never existed. No trace of her anywhere. Recently, I had the chance to catch up with a friend who I hadn't seen in a few years. He works in events and was here on the coast for a boat show that got cancelled. So he had some free time, looked me up and invited himself over. So we're sitting in the garden around the fire pit, reminiscing, and we get talking about music. He asked me if I'm still hardcore into Nirvana. Of course I am. Who could have grown up in the 90s and not been? Anyway, that reminds me of something I thought about last year, which was the 25th year since Kurt Cobain passed. I remembered spending the 5th anniversary of his death with this girl who he'd introduced me to. She was his girlfriend's best friend and I'd just gone through a bad breakup, as all teenage breakups are natch. She likes the same music as me and wanted someone to teach her how to skate. They both went to a different school in another town, so there was no way I would have known about her if my friend hadn't introduced us. So there I am in April 2019 and decided to look up this girl to see what she's up to now, and possibly freak her out that day when she came around to mine and watched MTV and Nirvana videos all night. It was 20 years ago, etc. I can't find her anywhere. She had a very unusual name, both first name and surname. Can I give them here? It seems like she doesn't exist anyway, so I find it a bit weird that I can't find her. A couple of days later I try again. Not a trace on any platform. Okay, maybe she's got a reason not to be online at all. Working for the security services or witness protection or something. No biggie. I'm not going to pry any further. It was just daft nostalgia anyway. Back to this weekend, I mention all of this to my friend. He finishes off his beer and gets up to grab another. Are you sure it was me who introduced you? He asks. Yeah, I remember you were going out with A and Z was her best friend. Are you sure? She went to girls' school with A. Yep, I remember we went bowling on a double date once, then went out for a crap dinner at a place above the bowling alley. He just has zero memory of this. Okay, it's 21 years ago now. He looks her up, finds his old flame. She's not one of her friends on Facebook. He messaged her but hasn't had a reply back. Looks like she's not used Facebook in a few years. We only dated for maybe 2 to 3 months, so I've not got any photos of her. I don't remember breaking up with her at all. I've since asked 2 more friends I had at the time who I'm still in touch with. They have no memory of her at all, which is odd because there was this time she turned up with a dead short haircut. Not quite Bonnie from Friends, but not far off, and I remember them all taking the piss. They have no recollection. I'm really starting to wonder if I made her up to get over this breakup. She was into all the same stuff as me, seemed really cool, and I have no idea why we stopped seeing each other. And I gotta be honest, I absolutely have no clue what could have happened, what was going on with OP in that particular story, and the comments were fairly similar as well, so we're gonna go straight onto the update to find out what happened next. So OP said, so here's my original story from over a year ago. It got a lot of replies before it was randomly locked, but anyway, TLDR says, people who should have remembered an old girlfriend of mine didn't. No one who was still in contact with me remembered her. So this weekend, the weirdest coincidence happened. I coached kids cricket, including my daughter, 5 years old. She's become friends with another little girl there. So while I was coaching, my wife was sat chatting to her mum. Turns out this mum, in a town 70 miles from where we went to school, was friends with my old girlfriend. She mentioned she went to this all-girls school, as it was near my all-boys school. We used to have shared discos etc. with them. Anyway, as she said this, I asked her what year she left. Year below me, same year as this mystery girlfriend. So I asked her, did you know Z? Oh my god, yes! Me, her and A, my best friend's girlfriend at the time, were best friends. You are not M, are you? I asked. Because you do look familiar. I think we went to the cinema together with Z. Yes, I remember we saw that film with Jude Law. So, 70 miles and 23 years later, someone remembers her. I asked why I couldn't find her online or any trace of her. Turns out the short haircut was the first stage of her transitioning, female to male. She's been living as a man since leaving school at 18 with a different name, including a different surname as her dad left her mum to live with someone else, so she took her mother's maiden name. She also fell out with A at the time, so that's why my friend who dated A didn't remember her. He only knew her for a few weeks before they fell out. I friended M, the mum at the cricket, on Facebook and found A under his new name in her friends list. He now lives in Vermont in the USA, having been to uni at Dartmouth. So there we go. Just thought I'd update. It's a small world. And I think that's a pretty nice update. And I sort of do wonder, I would love a further update on this one, whether OP did meet up with his friend and if they ever got together to reminisce about the good old times. I think that's absolutely wonderful. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Emily Patterson 099, who says, am I the arsehole for taking the cake I baked for my fiance's birthday and going home? Me, female 25 and fiance male 31. Ben's mum doesn't have the best relationship. I try my best to be polite around her, but she's the type that have high standards and expectations of whoever dates her son. She has 3. She's commented on my hair and my body several times and at some point suggested cosmetic surgeries for the future. This upset me, but Ben tells me this is who she is and I need to learn to have a thick skin since oftentimes she doesn't really mean to be malicious. Anyway, I'm known for baking cakes and sweets. Ben eats what I make, but whenever I bring something to his family to try, they find every excuse in the world not to eat it. I'm okay with that and stop doing it. For Ben's 31st birthday, his mum wanted to host a party. I decided to bake him his birthday cake and he was thrilled with it. I went grocery shopping, took the time off work and put so much effort into making it how he likes it. I took it with me to his mum's house and to my surprise when I walked in, I saw a large birthday cake sitting at the dining table. I was puzzled. Future mother-in-law said she requested this cake from the bakery and paid this amount of money for it. I asked, what about the cake I've made? She responded, oh, you can place it on the counter over there and we'll let the kids have it. This felt like ice was dropped all over me. I looked at Ben and he nodded at me in a just do it way. I was so mad and the cake was still in my hands at the time. I turned around and made my way to the door. His mum remained standing, but Ben followed me asking me where I was going. I told him that he didn't need my cake and by extension me, since my efforts were so easily dismissed and disrespected. He said I was overreacting and that his mum paid so much for that cake and it was only fair that he accepted. He begged me to get back inside and do him this favor by basically just go with the flow, but I decided to go home. He got mad and started saying I was being unreasonable and stirring drama over nothing. I went home and he didn't get back till 11 p.m. He was so upset. He said he and his family didn't appreciate the childish behavior I displayed and ruining his party and disrespecting his mum like that. Said I turned this into a huge deal and should have acted more maturely instead of walking out with the cake. Am I the arsehole for taking the cake and walking out? Absolutely not the arsehole. And we've read a lot of these stories where people enable their mothers and fathers or whatever, and it never ends well because you always think about what's the future going to hold for you. There was that one story about a month or so ago where the guy tried to bring his mother on holiday with them, although OP was totally against it. And in this story, he's just telling you to go with the flow, It's almost like, but family. And where does that end? Your boundaries are just going to be knocked over time and time again. Currently, now we're just talking about cake. In the future, we could be talking about your house. We could be talking about your marriage. We could be talking about your potential future children if you choose to have them. And you're going to hear the same excuse, but just go with the flow because it's just how she is. No, you don't have to put up with that bullshit. But prove me wrong, says Not the Arsehole. Please don't marry this man. Run far, far away and bake your cakes for someone who chooses you, not their mum. You deserve it. Yummy cake. Neon Tangle says Not the Arsehole. The fact that your future husband is telling you to just accept his mum's bullshit with a smile and then gets mad at you when you don't is very telling. If you marry him, this is going to grow over time. Clean Put says Info. Was she aware you were bringing a cake? Did you make sure she knew you wanted to bring the cake? And I gotta be honest, when I did read the initial story, that thought did come to my head as well. Unfortunately, we don't have a reply to it, but I did think, did OP's mum know about the cake? But in some ways it was it didn't really matter from what OP said before, that mum has high expectations and standards for whoever dates her son because she has 3, and she comments on my hair, body several times, and at some point suggested cosmetic surgeries for the future. And then went on to say, that she's known for baking cakes and sweets and the family finds any excuse not to eat it. And I was like, well, it's sort of that was an irrelevant comment in the end. And let's have one more from a problematic panda who says Not the Arsehole. All your mother-in-law did was throw some cash at someone. You, however, put the time and effort and love into making the exact cake he requested, therefore showing him how much he means to you, and he dismissed it just like that because Mummy Dearest went to the bakery. I see you're engaged. I hope you realize that this is exactly how it's going to be for the rest of your lives, and I hope that you know that by marrying him, you realize that this is what you're getting yourself into. If your relationship with him is worth all of this, then by all means continue. But if you don't see yourself putting up with his mama's boy behavior for the rest of your lives, then I think you have some reconsidering to do. Now, what do you guys make of this one? How would you have handled this situation if you was OP? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support and time always means the absolute world to me, so thank you so much for doing you, being awesome and just being incredible. As always, we have a podcast if you want to get involved in that. If that's your preferred way to listen, totally up to you. Go to mark-narrations.com and it will show you a whole selection of podcasts where you can listen and subscribe to if you choose to do so. Thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care. Much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. A, B,